I was excited to get started in my role. I ignored so many red flags to take on this new position, but things panned out way differently than I expected. So whether you are a nurse, resident physician, attending physician, attorney, teacher, or something else, you yourself may have experienced burnout, or you may know somebody that's experienced burnout. It's a topic that's not talked about enough, so I want to change that. Let's have a conversation about burnout now. Burnout is not about being stressed or tired. Burnout is cynicism, lack of fulfillment, and exhaustion in your role. And these things can bleed over into your everyday lifestyle. I'm Mary Stewart. I experienced burnout firsthand. Let's talk about some of the causes of burnout for me. Number one was job culture. The job culture that I was in was very punitive. There was a lot of finger pointing, and nobody really wanted you to share your ideas. And all of my ideas, all of them, are amazing. And there was very little room to respectfully disagree. There was also some warm body mentality going on, and that's just when people want somebody in the job doing the work. I'll never forget when I first started, the doctor called me in to come to work, and the nurse called and was like, why did you start in the middle of a pay period? Well, they didn't communicate with each other, and I was caught in the crosshairs of that incident. Another incident that happened was I was having a full-blown severe allergic reaction. From head to toe, I had something going on. My eyelids were swollen, my lips were swollen, my stomach ached so bad, and I had like massive hives all over. So I was taking medications to feel better. I had gotten a couple of injections, and I was just at home, recovering. The doctor reached out to me. He was like, how are you doing? And I was like, oh, that's so nice. They, are reaching out to me. And he was like, how much longer are you going to be off? Why don't you try stretching your medications out? As soon as I stretched them out, the hives reappeared, and I stuck to the regimen that the doctor that was actually taking care of me, I stuck to that regimen until I felt better. So that is another instance of warm body syndrome, wanting someone there to do the work and not even caring about their well-being. Another cause of burnout was I was not being fulfilled in my role. We did the same work day in and day out with no room to grow. There was no advancements within the program. I wanted to build an NP program within our department, but at the end of the day, they just wanted us there to do the work, which was the progress notes and the consultations, and that was about the size of those apples. Recently, I came across a mantra. Let me know if you've heard it before. It's called working at the top of your license. That was something I absolutely was not doing. Actually, the notes that I was signing for the doctors said scribed for said doctor, whichever doctor, by Mary Stewart. I want to know, how common is that across the United States? If you work in a hospital setting, are you having to write scribed by? Once you write scribed by, the doctor is able to bill the insurance company. So I was a scribe, and that's definitely not working at the top of my license. That part didn't bother me as much. I feel like there were other opportunities along the way that would have led me to be more fulfilled in the role. So now that we've talked about what caused me to burn out, let's talk about how I reacted. If you watched the other video that I did, if you haven't, the link will be below. Make sure to take a look at that. But what was happening was I was being reactionary, just like the workplace environment was reactionary. I ended up being reactionary as well. I started to dread my job. The day before I went into work, I would sit at home and just start this massive dread fest. And once I got to work, surprisingly enough, it did let up. The dread did let up. And let's say if I was working like 5 days straight, that last day, the dread would be gone. and then it would start back up one day before I returned back to work. Anxiety was an unwanted companion that reared its ugly head. Now the anxiety would just like sit in my neck, like right in here, and then I could just feel it pressing against my chest at work. Imagine just feeling so uncomfortable in your body due to thoughts. At this time, I was not in control of the burnout. It was essentially happening to me because I didn't have the resources at the time to help myself heal. I was cynical. I did not have one good word to say. And that's just not a good place to be in. So what I ended up doing, I'm an introvert, and what I ended up doing was getting really quiet. I assumed a quiet personality at work to the point that some people even thought that I was mean. Definitely not a mean person, but that's what I did to cope. I really distanced myself from my work. So I was there, but I really wasn't there. I also experienced massive resentment. And resentment is basically when you feel like other people should be doing something. Imagine that. You can't control people, so it's a terrible way to feel. I resented them for my experience. They should have provided me with a better experience. I resented them for not helping me to develop professionally. They should have helped me stay on par with my peers across the United States. They were saying I could take initiative and read more and find conferences and stuff like that. But I was burned out and I was doing the same work. So I needed something to spark my joy. And that was one thing that I really wanted to do was procedures. I resented them for making me do scut work. But here's the deal. Somebody had to do the work. And when I'm placing all of the blame on them to the point where I'm resenting them, you know at this point I really needed to start the process of recovery. So let's talk about recovery. Some of the strategies for recovery works even better as prevention mechanisms. Sleep was the only preventative mechanism that I had on my side because I was making sure that I got enough sleep. So we can force our bodies to not get enough sleep, but we can never force our bodies to require less sleep. Sleep is very, very important to our well-being. One of the big things that I did was to go to the Mayo Clinic to get some resources in a health coaching program. And in that program, I was able to start self-coaching myself and getting on the right track. So I'm not saying that you need to go to a health coaching program, but I am saying that you need a trusted person to talk to. Being connected to people outside of work really does help in recovery. Make sure that you continue to talk to your friends and family, the people who love you and think that you're a big deal. Make sure that you stay in contact with them. And you may even want to get back to an old hobby or find a new one. One thing that I really like doing is to play pool. Remember, ultimately, you have the power of where you work. And after you've assessed your values, you've implemented boundaries to maintain your values, you may have to find a new place of employment. Everything that I am doing today, I am choosing to do it. Just like a seed may struggle to grow in one environment, that same exact seed can flourish in another environment. So keep that in mind. If you're having a burnout fest at one job because it's not 100% aligned with you, just keep in mind that you can go to another place and flourish. So another strategy for recovery is boundaries. Establish clear boundaries between the workplace and home. And then just kind of keep a keen eye if you're taking on extra shifts, if you're taking on extra duties, that can lead to, feelings of resentment. And that can spearhead, you going into burnout. And staying 10 toes down on your values, because when the company needs to make a shift, they're going to look at their mission, vision, values. They're going to call a consultant and they're going to start firing away at the financials. And the financials, this is done, you know, in the big nice offices at different facilities. But when it trickles down to a name. It trickles down to a person. And for me, I ended up getting cut based on, you know, the hospital needing to make some readjustments. So do what you need to do, because when it's time for them to readjust, they're going to. And so I do have things to be thankful for, and I'm so happy that I'm able to share my story, because I know that there are other people out there that will resonate with my story across professions, but definitely in healthcare. So if you haven't experienced burnout, I hope that you employ preventative strategies so that you never have to go through that. So that wraps up this video. Please let me know in the comments if you have experienced burnout, if you started to experience burnout and you were able to stop it. Let me know what you did to stop it. Let me know if any of those strategies were helpful. Let's just chat in the comments, and make sure that you catch my other video talking about how I got laid off while I was on vacation. Wild, huh? I know. Talk later.